Right.
Yeah, you just
And
walk
pick up
along
the
top of
differential.
Yeah, most of your leaks are gonna be found at where you have hookups for services or hydrants, you know, where they physically make a change from whatever material they're attached to. So they tend to concentrate there first. And if they find one area that's leaking, appears to be leaking excessively, they'll go down the road or the service line and look at everything. And they can tell either by sound or by radar.
So they're literally not shooting internally through the
No.
line.
Wastewater is out.
Yeah, wastewater is.
I owned a house in Wyoming, in Kemmer, and the collars that they attached to the main line were junk, and then they ran the copper into the house. In one winter, we had to have a hose from the neighbor's hose to, you know, to run water all along, because ours basically failed and we didn't have any water. They weren't inspected very well when they were put in, so whoever put them in put some cheap material into those collars, and all of them rusted, and you get all the way up the street, they were always on the
30, 40 years ago, around here, it's no different.
I was just gonna say,
A lot of stuff
I think
was
I've
put
heard
in the ground
that
and people
somewhere
don't know there.
before.
Yeah. And you got the leak there, and then, you know,
Yeah, they never get small.
several months with a hose between houses is a very uncomfortable thing.
So
In the
grant
winter.
opportunities.
In the winter, it was in the winter, of course.
You gotta keep it running.
I
Yeah,
wanted
10
to point
degrees below
out
zero.
just another one that's often CEQA can be a hitch in the process, a long delay. Sierra Nevada Conservancy has reached out and wants to put forward that if anyone needs assistance with CEQA, please contact Lynn Campbell or Christine Hoffman, because they can set up and may be able to provide funding or assistance for CEQA. So please reach out to them. They may even come out with a workshop or something like that. But if CEQA is an issue, contact them. The other thing is the GWR Proposition 1 Irwin. We've talked about this one a little bit already. This is the next round of funding. There is a timetable on page 77 of your packet. So we're looking at a draft PSP in early summer. They're going to host a couple of meetings and then possibly release the PSP in later in the summer with grant applications by the end of the year. There are a couple of attachments to that staff report. There's a funding opportunities newsletter from Sierra Nevada Conservancy that has a lot more opportunities available, and also there's an update on page 83 of your packet from GWR, and that's for the Proposition 1 grants upgrade. And that's it for the updates.
Okay, anybody have any questions on grant update, grant opportunities? Okay, that takes us to item 6, next steps, which is looking for the next meeting date. We just talked about having one in June. I assume it would be good before the end of June. So what looks like at least a target date?
About the 22nd, or the 29th is the cattleman's dinner.
Oh, yeah, we don't want to interfere with
We can read it.
It's in Taylor's, you know, there's gonna be a lot of, yeah.
Oh, I know, that's why I don't want to interfere with it.
Rick's planning on
Well,
being all
we
afternoon.
could just meet at the Catholic barbecue while we're at it.
We're having chicken, so anybody come.
Like that. Never happened.
Please.
Yeah, I was all that with the vegetarian.
Okay, so the 22nd, does that work for you?
That should work.
Okay. 22nd?
Same time, same place?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I have to let you know I won't be available.
We want to do it before that?
I leave on the 15th for Florida, and I get back on the 27th.
Here.
So,
He'll
We'll probably get done on Tuesday. We probably get done on Tuesday.
I've had that.
that is possible.
Seriously?
Yeah, if you
No,
can.
because I wanted to write it.
So you and I just.
Well, no, they're working.
Literally.
I can't believe I never had to bop anyone on the head with this all meeting long.
But it's not, I don't have.
That's because Russ was muzzled down in the corner.
Okay, nothing else?
I have one question for Uma, if
Yeah.
you would, if you have a minute.
I'm gonna bop you.
Now, okay, through all that pain and suffering we endured, and that was just a lot of learning for everybody. But there was some of the feelings that, projects were gonna happen faster. Are we just to be patient? Because it's pretty clear where money's gonna go first. But for the Sierra Valley RCD, with most of our land, most of the projects were private lands, meadows and this. And when I give a report to them this month, it seems like I'm saying the same thing over and over. Is there anything you could say, well, there's something on the horizon, or just be patient?
Patient.
Well, there's, again, having a project in the plan will be beneficial to applying for other grants as well, not just through EWR.
Right.
So when I send out the opportunities, you can provide that to them and say, these are opportunities that are coming up. And if you have specific ones that you're looking for, I could send those to you when I cross them, and you can provide that to them and say, these are opportunities we can pursue. We will get extra points for having our project on the plan.
And some of those, Rick, if this bond does pass in June, if the service is gonna get a significant hit, and that would be a perfect place for them to go.
Yeah,
Well, I would say that, Community Development Commission has been in contact with several of the proposed grantees to try to get some funding. And in most cases, I've never gotten any response back, so if you've got something that we might be able to have the capacity to help fund, or to get funding, we can't fund it ourselves, talk to them.
I have one other thing around that is, I recently attended the California Tribal Water Summit. It's a statewide thing, and it hasn't happened for 5 years. But one of the questions that came up for me during that process is because we're located in a rural headwaters community of California with fractured systems, but a large amount of our water is part of the state water supply. Is there a nexus for urban water users, the people that are downstream using our water, to have more investment in our headwaters, but not only in, so because it's a full system, what about private and federal lands? Because right now I'm not hearing, and I might not be right, that there's a way for state money to be used on federal lands to support forest health projects and water quality projects. But also, why not, and this is a longer term thing if it's even possible, but is there a nexus for urban investment into headwaters communities on a whole scale? And so that was the question, one of the questions that I proposed to the state board and to Department of Water Resources.
Well, that's because Met is spending all their money on 2 tubes running through the Delta, because they're the ones that are taking this water.
And that, that legislative analyst report specifically says the state water project should invest in this watershed.
Yes, it sure does.
It's really a strong statement, and so I'm hoping that we capitalize on that and do something.
Well, and I would be surprised if state funding could be used on federal lands, because I think the state would be thinking the fed should be putting up money for
But they
state
get, you guys
lands.
get grants all the time, but we can stay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Right.
SNC, yeah, they've funded projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just,
But it has to be
Just
through a
state
different.
but you have to
we
run
can't
it
apply
through
for-
SNC.
Right.
Right.
It has to be a project partner, the
Third
forest
party
can.
partner.
That's
Apply
it, they
directly.
can't directly.
Yeah, so I think looking at that nexus to, I don't know.
I think that's really important.
And on private lands as well, when you're talking about the RCDs and other,
Well, and as we frequently say, 78, 79% of our Plumas County land mass is under the management of the Forest Service. So, our projects on lands that don't fall under that have very little impact in the scheme of things, as opposed to doing the projects on 78% of the county that would have a huge impact. So, I think that nexus is really important. And SNC, I'm the sub-region representative. So I think SNC, if the funding comes through like they're looking at, that there'll be more opportunities through there too.
It'd be wonderful and refreshing to see more go on the ground and less in the study.
now,
Are you trying to cut out admin?
I don't think Christie's here, but Our representative, Lynn Campbell, spends a couple of weeks a month
You bet.
up in this area, and they have an office here in this building across from mine.
They're very
So-
dialed into our whole area,
So-
our whole region.
Yeah, so getting, I suppose you can call them, even Christie when she's here, to know when Lynn's here for, Christie doesn't have our region, but Lynn does, and when she's here, to talk to her.
Well, and you've basically got two of the sub-region reps sitting here, because Paul's the other one of the other ones.
I
And-
think Lynn's your first 2 weeks of the month.
Right.
Yeah,
And-
that's what I remember.
And literally, when we first got on this, their whole focus was on buying up
Easements.
Finding
easements
easements.
and that type of thing. And we kind of spearheaded an effort to bring them to realize that watershed restoration and forest management were
But
a
they're
much
they're
higher
looking to go
priority
back, so pay
than
attention.
conservation easements, so.
They're looking to go back, so pay
I know
attention.
they are, so that's what I was just aiming to say, is we had that turned around and things were moving along really well and they've been investing well. But now, as the board changes, somehow or another, they're circling back to thinking conservation easements again. So I think it's really important that we really ride hard on that and make sure that doesn't happen. Okay, nothing else? We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.